Hello! Welcome to another sketchbook tour. This is my second sketchbook from 7th grade in 2015-2016. Let's get started! I used this sketchbook as a workbook for my art class in 7th grade. And this is an outfit I totally would wear today. I wish I had this outfit. This looks like an unfinished drawing of Anna from Frozen. And of course, Minnie Mouse. I always have to draw either Mickey or Minnie in all of my sketchbooks. And looks like the Sharpie bled through, but it was going to be a drawing of Genie from Aladdin. I remember thinking this eyeball was like so realistic. Same with this nose, like we learned how to blend and I just thought that it looked so realistic. And like honestly for my age, like it wasn't bad. But looking back, it was just so funny to think that I thought these were like photo accurate. Some notes for class, I guess. This will show up later in the video, so get used to seeing this. This was for a project with clay that we were building, and I think that was just me planning out what I wanted to do. This is the last page in this sketchbook from my friend Vanna, and there is a lot of empty space in the back. So let's use some of this old artwork as inspiration for new artwork. So to show off how much I think that I've improved, I'm going to go into my current day sketchbook, and I'm going to redraw one of my drawings from my old sketchbook. So in this one in particular, I was inspired by this artist superhero. So I'm going to draw this in my current day style, knowing, what I know now. See how far we've come in, what was it? 2015, 2016, so about 10 years. Let's see the progress I've made. I'll keep this over to the side so I can see it as a reference. It's a superhero girl who has art superpowers. A face in here first. I remember exactly when I drew this illustration. It was in my 7th grade art class, and we were prompted to draw a superhero, and I couldn't decide what I wanted like my superpower to be. So I was like, well, I love art, so maybe I have an art superpower. I think it was supposed to be me, like what I would be as a superhero, and I thought it'd be cool. I think this might exist somewhere, but I thought I was being original at the time. For a superhero who, whatever she drew, it would come to life. So I remember being like, oh, well, if she wanted like a piece of pizza, like a slice of pizza, she could draw a slice of pizza and then it would just appear and she'd have it. So I thought that would be a pretty cool superpower. So drawing in her mask. Just getting an idea of what she looks like before we go into a final illustration. I'm drawing this in my style. I'm trying to keep it as true to like the details I included in the original one from 2015, but of course taking some liberties to include, what I know now. And I'm just gonna sketch her out to see what she looks like before we even get into a final. I do love her outfit though. I do want to draw that. I'm not a master at drawing anatomy by any means, but I can fake it till I make it. I kind of start with base shapes. That's kind of how I learned, was just to start with shapes and then build from there. But for now, I'm just gonna do a pretty basic pose just so we can get her outfit in here. I do draw pretty simple when it comes to anatomy. It's just my style. I have a bow tie on in the photo, and I've got this cape attached to the bow tie, it looks like, so. Wearing a shirt that kind of comes down to here, right above the elbows, and I'm wearing a skirt. I'm saying I think it was supposed to be a self-portrait, but I'm not very sure. Got this cute skirt on, and it looks like I have shorts peeking out underneath, and then I think these are boots, or they're shoes with the really tall socks, so I'll just do them as socks. And then I have yellow shoes on, cute. And then I've got a paint palette right here on my shirt with the paintbrush. I don't know if I will include that. I might just include the palette. Okay, cute. And then I've got, of course, the mask to hide my identity. I never really understood how this would hide someone's identity, but we'll go with it. Okay, and then I've got a little scrunchie here on my ponytail. Well, now I kind of have an idea of like what I want her face to look like and her outfit, the basics of it at least. I'm gonna do a couple poses and then I'll get into a final illustration. So I'm thinking I want like a superhero pose, obviously, so maybe she's looking up. And then a line of action showing that where she's gonna be standing. And I kind of want her hands on her hips and her chest to be puffed out, like she's standing all proud, and then one foot grounded, and maybe one is pointed out. And I'm just kind of getting a simple little pose in here, nothing too perfect. I think I've already improved in the process, because as you can see before in my old sketchbooks, I would have like one drawing per page, and now I use it more for planning out ideas, sketching, learning. I'm not so precious with each page. You know, each page doesn't have to be a full illustration. It can just be, you know, sketchy. And so she does have this paint palette. So I wonder if maybe she should be holding one, or maybe it's like around her hip, or maybe she's holding a paintbrush, or maybe actually the paintbrush could be like on her ear right there. That might be cool. And maybe she's holding the palette. I'm gonna draw this pose again. Grab reference for that because I have no idea what holding a palette looks like. I have an idea, but I'm definitely gonna grab some reference to look at. Okay, I like this pose better. Obviously the anatomy is a bit off, but I do like the pose. And then I do want to incorporate that little dog she has. We're gonna add him in. Let's do some colors and then we will go into the illustration. I've grabbed purples, pinks, and yellows that I'm gonna swatch out for her. In the photo, she's very neon. I think I used highlighters actually for this, so I'm gonna take these colors as inspiration and go from there. So the rest I'm gonna improvise. For my coloring, I'm using Prismacolor Premier alcohol markers. Let's swatch these out onto her really quick, then we'll get going into the illustration. I was kind of basing it off of me 10 years ago, I'm pretty sure. I did give myself the brown hair and the light skin. The cape is supposed to be paint splattered, as is the shirt. I might see how that goes, but for now, this is the color swatching. Let's get into the illustration.
finished illustrations side by side. I think I've made a lot of progress since 2015. On the left is the drawing when I was 12 years old, and the one on the right is when I'm 23 years old. Thanks for watching!